Hello, everyone, and welcome. Do not worry, I am here, but since the last time we spoke, I have mastered the ability of invisibility. But don't worry, I'll decloak in just a moment, but let's hit those opening titles first. Here I am. I am back in the visible form of myself. Welcome along, everybody. Thank you for joining me in this part 2. And the reason why it's part 2 is because yesterday I did a Facebook Live where we talked about episode 10 of G Star Vault and the footage that we included in there. So what I wanted to do for those of you that weren't able to join the Facebook Live and had commented, I wanted to share the Facebook Live recording, which we will go through in just a moment. And then as that live stream unfolded, we were talking about the comments that people had already put onto episode 10 and given their thoughts and opinions on the footage. And within that, there was some comments from a lot of guys, one of those being Daniel Godwin, who was joining us on the show, as was Monty, as was Mickey, and all of them had some really good thoughts and ideas, which we discussed. But then also Dan sort of followed through on his theory and his analysis, and since then has shared a piece of footage with us, which is both on the Facebook site, which he posted onto the Monty Zone Facebook site, so you can check it out there, but I'm also going to insert it into the end of this video. Now, the only one thing that I cannot do, which is a bit of a shame because I wanted to play this and then at the same time kind of insert the original footage that we were talking about because I wasn't sharing that on the live stream. However, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I didn't mention on the live stream, is that for episode 10, when I uploaded that, I was slapped with a bit of a copyright warning because the footage that I was sharing was actually had a very light copyright on it, so it wasn't a serious infringement. YouTube just warned me that the company that owns the rights to the footage may put adverts into my video, but I don't want to risk sharing it again because I think that the second time, if I use the footage again, the warning might be a little bit more severe. So don't want to take that risk. So what I will do is put a link to the original episode in this description so you can go and check it out. If you go to about, I think it's four and a half minutes into that episode, the footage is there. It's only about 50 seconds long, so check that out and then you will kind of have an understanding of what we're talking about in this episode and what we were discussing on the Facebook Live. Anyway, let's get to the footage of the Facebook live stream. It was the first live stream I've done on Facebook. Was a bit of a test because when we return with the Monty Zone in season 2, we're planning to do dual streaming on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So we wanted to kind of get an idea of what that looked like, what you can do and can't do. Now, one of the problems that first came up, bit of my own fault, I maybe should have rebooted my modem before I went live, because I haven't for a while, but there was a bit of a lag. So what I'm going to try and do is edit out most of that lag. So if there's little bits where it kind of like seems jolted, it's because I've cut out bits where it kind of was freezing and lagging. So let's get to that footage. I'll play that and then I'm going to share some footage that Daniel Godwin shared with us just towards the end. Becky. Yeah, it works at least. That is a good thing. Thank you for those that have joined so far. Thank you for saying hello. I did question whether to do this live stream tonight, given the events that have happened in Plymouth yesterday and the horrific incident. But I decided to go ahead. But, you know, anybody that's watching, from everybody at the Monty Band Live channel, I'm sure everybody would want to, along with myself, pass on their, their utmost thoughts and best wishes for the families and friends that were involved in the incident yesterday. Probably, the impact has reached beyond the realms of just Plymouth. There's probably more people far further wider that are impacted. So, but yeah, just to finish off, I'm not going to talk about the event yesterday. I'm sure everybody can see it in the news, but it was horrific, and our thoughts go out to all the families and friends and everybody that's been impacted. And a big thank you to the police and all the support services that have been involved with yesterday's incident. And just everybody keep saying hello in chat. Yeah, and as Smiler says, love Kiam, love Plymouth. But anyway, thank you for anybody that's joined and come along. This whole thing was a tester, so just to let you know, from a functionality point of view and also what it looked like to you guys. And it seemed like a good idea to, instead of talking about the last G-Star episode footage live, not live, pre-recorded, which all G-Star Vaults are, to instead talk about that footage live. So I've had on YouTube a few people give their thoughts and comments, some of the guys that couldn't make it along tonight. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of what the audience, you guys, and followers of the Monty Band live channel have put in the chat, so we can talk about them first, and then I'll give you my thoughts and opinions. But if you haven't watched the footage, then maybe make your way over quickly to Monty Band live channel on YouTube. Go to the G-Star playlist and watch the latest episode of G-Star Vault. The footage itself is only about 50 seconds long, so you can fast forward into the middle of the video where you see the footage. So at least you've got some sort of concept about what we're talking about, because I don't think I can share the video on this live stream on Facebook, or at least I don't know how to yet. So, and if you've got any questions, Blackfest, if you've got any questions about any previous G-Star Vaults, or want to share anything, please do. Yeah, I don't know what is going on with the stream and why it is a little bit disjointed and not great. But again, it's why it's good to do these tests so we can work on it. The last episode that was uploaded. I'm going to start with, who should we start with? Let's start with Daniel Godwin, who put some comments in to the video about 6 days ago. His comment was, I'm a little unsure if I'm going to be able to make the live stream on Friday. It looks to me to be early morning, just before sunrise. I wish we knew what direction the camera was pointing so we could know for sure. We can clearly see something, and when the camera zoomed in, it looked like the object was moving. It wasn't the object moving, but the low-lying clouds that were moving, giving the illusion of the object moving, so the object is stationary. So on August the 19th, the planet Jupiter will be in opposition with the Sun. Very technical, Daniel. Really good stuff. It will be directly opposite the Sun and shining at its brightest. Given that you said that this footage was uploaded around a week ago, which was 2 weeks ago now, I'm assuming it was filmed in the last couple of weeks. Jupiter will still be bright in the morning, just before and just after sunrise. So that's my take. I think it's Jupiter with the camera zoomed in and looks like it's moving, but it's not moving. It's the clouds moving, giving the illusion that the object is moving. Of the Monty Zone and a big friend of the channel. That was his thoughts. Monty, he's joining us. So Monty is a bit of a expert on astronomy and things like that. So chime in, Monty, and let us know whether you think or agree with Dan. It could be Jupiter, and that was at the right time. It'd be great to hear your thoughts. And then we had a comment from Kevin Worrell, who is a follower and a subscriber on our channel, and I believe a big fan of the 401 files. And he says, Dan is with with you now, Becky. So yeah, let Dan know that I've shared his comments and looked into what he said and shared it with everybody this evening. And yeah, trying to get some other viewpoints on that. But there's plenty of opinions, and some of them are similar and some of them differ from some of the comments that we've had on YouTube. And I'm just going to go through them first, as I said, before I sort of give you my thoughts and opinions. But by all means, everybody, chime in. Great to see you saying hello to each other. That's awesome. Chime in and let me know what your thoughts are if you're on with us live. And if you've watched the footage, of course, that would always help. So, as I was saying, Kevin Worrell, his comment was, I don't know about this 1G star. It doesn't really move. There is something there, but it could be balloons up there with the light reflecting off. It's not CGI, because surely you'd make a better video than this, but you never know. Is there any other witnesses, etc.? So as I said on the video that I uploaded onto YouTube, there wasn't very much information about that footage other than it was filmed in Ireland. And it didn't say where in Ireland. Some people could be a small place, but it's still pretty big, so it could be anywhere. Hi Jen, thank you for joining. Good to see you, waving all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. So great to have somebody stateside joining us. That's awesome. Thank you for popping along. And then let's have a look. So Monty was saying, from the normal camera, Jupiter doesn't really show up as anything unless you have a really big lens. So that's his thoughts. But again, these are all good opinions because it shows that everybody's doing the right thing and looking at the footage with that skeptical, open mind and trying to analyze what is going on there. And I can't wait to share my thoughts with you and what I thought about the footage, and more importantly, why I picked that particular piece of footage. Oh, this is nice. Everybody's saying hello to each other. That's awesome. Okay, so I just want to touch on one thing that Kevin put in his comment where he said that it's not CGI. I think everybody would probably agree that watching the footage that it's definitely not. It makes a really good point that if it was, it's a pretty awful attempt at it. I agree with that point. We'll come back to some of his other points and Dan's points as we go through, because as I said, some of the comments that we had on YouTube were very, very similar. Just trying to catch up on what you guys are saying. Yay, from across the pond. Yep. So cool to have somebody joining us all the way from beautiful, beautiful and mostly hot, warm. I bet it's hot right now, Arizona. That's very cool. So Monty had put on the comments on YouTube that it was a plane catching the sun. That's what it looks like to him, and that he will try and join the live stream on Facebook, and he did. So thank you for coming along. Hi Daniel. This footage, I mean, I don't know when it was filmed. When I filmed the G-Star Vault, I said that it had been uploaded to the World Wide Web about a week ago. That's when it showed that it had been uploaded to YouTube. However, that doesn't mean that's when it was filmed. So it's interesting that even 2 weeks later, I'm presuming that we're still seeing Jupiter in the sky. Was the test done earlier, Dan? Did you do the test on another time? That'd be interesting to know, whether it was like about a week ago you did that test or just really recent. But it would be nice to know if Jupiter is still visible in the sky. Yeah, so another theory coming from Monty that it was a plane, which goes against the other comments, because the other comments from both Dan and Kevin sort of felt that the object wasn't moving. And so if it wasn't moving, it would be very different if it was a lens. Dan? That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? But let us know if you've got some sort of special lens or whether it was just done on your normal camera phone. Okay, so we've got another comment that I need to share with you guys from YouTube. And it's a massive one, and it's a very detailed one. As I mentioned earlier, Mickey Early, who usually joins us, I know he joins Monty a lot on the Fortnite on the other channel, and he joins us for Monty Zone. He's very heavily supportive of G-Star Vault as well. So, and I was super impressed with his comment because he went right through the A-Carts model. So I'm going to share that with you guys now. Please keep sharing your comments and thoughts and being awesome and talking to each other because that's cool. So Mickey says, so having run through the A-Carts, love it that he's using it, and being an expert in Ireland because I'm Irish, laughy face, this is what I've come up with. I believe it's just a plane. Reasons below. Aerial phenomenon. I don't believe so. This plane that catches the evening sun just right, and it seems to nearly glow. Under CGI, he says, I don't think the person filming is the type of person to create a crazy CGI alien craft and post it to the world. I do, however, believe that they thought that they had caught something spectacular on camera that was unexplained. There you go, Dan. Your wife can confirm that you do have a giant lens. Laugh out loud. Okay, so then the next thing in the A-Carts model that Mickey comments on is the audio. You can hear the low-flying plane clearly and some background noise like birds, etc. This leads what they think they're seeing. Do they truly believe that it's real? Hard to tell. It seems to move past the clouds like you would see a plane move. It is not static and reacts to the environment. Time and date, the time late evening, so that conflicts with, I think Dan thought it was maybe early morning. Mickey thinks it was late evening, and the date of last week, which had a long period of sunny weather, seems to tie in pretty well for my theory of the sun illuminating the side of the plane. In the footage, it seems to be late evening with the sun low in the sky, which is when this type of view of a plane has been seen in the past by myself. And then lastly, under similar, I wish I had recorded some of the times I've seen this in the past, but I'm going to say my own past views and sightings of this. I say this because I remember seeing it and thinking, what the hell is that? And then coming to the logical conclusion that it was in fact a plane after watching it for an extended period. I'm sure. Oh, and here he is. I've just been talking all about your comments, Mickey. Evening. Thank you for coming along. Yeah, so I thought your comment to the video on YouTube was awesome. Loved the way you went through the A-Carts model. Lovely to see it in use and in practice. Yeah, very cool. And what's he saying now? All my parents have arrived, so I have to go and play host. No worries, Mickey. Again, thank you so much for the superb comment. We're going to continue to talk about it. I don't know how this Facebook Live works. Like, once I go end the video or end the live, I think it stays as a post on the Facebook page, I would presume. So you can watch back later on how we continue to talk about your comments. But say hi to the folks for us, and thank you for popping in. That's amazing. Well, as I said, Mickey, it was. I know it's very sad that you're going to miss out, but you should be able to watch it back after we finish the live. So hopefully, just check that out, and then you can see what everybody was saying. Evening. Then we had Dan, who felt that it was Jupiter, and and Kevin said that he thinks it might have been a balloon or something, but I guess he's thinking again along the lines that it's the sun reflecting off of something. So that's pretty much the bulk of our comments that we had on YouTube. If you haven't watched the video yet, please do go along and please leave your comments on there and on here if you don't mind sharing on the live feed. It's all awesome and helps. But let me start off by telling you why I picked this particular piece of footage, because you know, it was a bit, I guess, a little bit random for me. It was a bit short. But the reason why I chose it is because In the first sort of 10 seconds, it kind of grabbed me because of the low flying plane that you see. Because online, there's a lot of videos that are shared that are very, very similar to this, where it's a light object. Majority of the footage that you see online, you don't have anything in these videos to kind of measure distance against. It's usually something in the sky. A lot of them are at night time as well, so they just come across as like orbs and people zoom in and zoom out. But you've got no reference really of distance, because when you film something in the sky, it's very difficult to get a sense of distance or a sense of size. But what I thought instantly helped about this footage, which you don't often see, is then there was another craft that was closer to the person who was holding the camera. It looked to me like that craft was landing at some sort of airport, because when you first see it, it's kind of comes across the screen, and then the person with the camera pulls the camera up, then back down, and as it's coming back down, you kind of see the low-level flying plane do a turn, and it actually looks like quite a, to me, it looks like quite a small plane, like a Flybe or something. The airports are quite synonymous with UFO, UAP activity. So that again presented something that's quite interesting. If it was an airport, this is where we could definitely done with Mickey's input. For me, I know there's an airport in Belfast, there's an airport in Dublin. I don't know how many other airports there are in Ireland. I'm sure there's more. But that then narrows down the location of it if we are thinking it was near a sort of commercial airport. But the main thing was that the low-level flying plane that you see at the beginning of the footage allows you to then see that whatever it is that we're looking at and we're trying to identify, it is actually significantly off in the distance. And what's interesting about that, because if you start with the, but what it does omit is, for example, straight something like a drone or something like that, because if it was a drone, given the distance that it's away of filming, it would have to be about the size of a house, I reckon. Go back and watch the footage and you'll see what I'm talking about when you get that sense of distance. So instantly it was quite good for eliminating certain aerial phenomenon and what it could be mistaken as. Could it be a plane? It could be. Could it be a balloon? Could be. There's a lot of people that felt like the object wasn't moving. And I can see why they say that, because again, I've watched the footage quite a lot of times now. You go back, there are grayer clouds that are more at low level that are moving, and they're moving towards the camera direction. And therefore it could give the impression that the object further or higher above is moving when it's actually stationary. So there is some really valid points that have been shared both tonight on this live stream on our channel, where it's considerable that it. However, my conclusion is also that it's moving very, very. And I guess now's the time to reveal what I think it is, because we've had some really great comments and ideas shared, that it could be Jupiter, it could be a plane, it could be a balloon. My thoughts are very similar to some of you guys, and I do think that where the comment is being made about the lighting and the sunlight of the evening or the morning, I do agree with that element of everybody's conclusion. However, I actually think that it's not a plane. I don't think it's a balloon. I think it's a cloud. I think it's a little puff of cloud that is so much further up than the other two layers of cloud that it's actually still grabbing the sunlight. And where that sunlight is, again, I'm not an expert. I can't say whether it's the sun rising in the morning or the evening and the sun is setting, but it's that sort of angle where it's is what makes me come to the conclusion that it's a cloud. It's a little puff of cloud that is, really much, much higher up, probably in higher velocity winds, changing a little bit, changing shape, like clouds do in the wind, and but it's just catching the sun so more intensely than the rest of the layers of cloud, so it kind of makes it look like a white object in the sky. That's my general conclusions. Let me know if you think that that sounds sound and logical, or whether you're still in disagreement with me. But because of the fact that I zoomed in and I could see the object change in shape, unless it was, again, I have to concede, if it was a plane, the reason why I dismissed a plane was because I saw the object change in shape, and planes generally don't change shape unless it's some sort of top secret plane that we don't know about. But however, I could concede that the light reflecting off the plane could have moved and could have created the effect that looks like it's changing shape, but it's not. But it definitely, on that zoom in, it looks more to me like a puff of cloud. Like when you see, yeah, that's pretty much what I think. But it does share the same sort of path of logic with some of the guys that have commented on the channel, on the video on YouTube, and some of the things that you guys have been saying this evening. So yeah, again, sorry that there's been lag on this one, and by the sounds of what Monty's saying, it's getting worse. But yeah, hopefully, just let me know what you guys think, just to round off this live discussion, whether you agree with me, or whether you're any of the guys that have already given your thoughts and opinions and you want to stick to them and you feel pretty confident. Welcome back, guys. Really sorry about that. Editing through that Facebook live footage, didn't realize the lag was so bad on the live stream, so it was quite choppy, I'm sure, watching that back, so I do apologize. We'll get better on that. But let's check out the footage that Daniel Godwin filmed and shared. He filmed this about a day or so after I uploaded the G-Star episode, and shared the footage. He wanted to do a little bit of a test of filming Jupiter, see what it looks like. It was really awesome. So let's check that out quickly. So hopefully you could see that okay. If you couldn't, go to the Monty Zone Facebook page, and Dan's uploaded his post as a single piece of footage, and you can look at it a little bit more closely. It actually was a really good, almost replication of what we saw in the original footage. Throughout the live stream, Monty, I know, sort of changed his sort of mind from thinking it was a plane, shifting over to sort of thinking more along the lines of Daniel, and that it was Jupiter. I think the footage that Daniel has shared is really good investigative work, and really does look very similar to the original footage. However, I still remain firm that I believe that it was a cloud, and that a lot of the other criteria that a lot of people think that it was, the sunlight playing tricks on it, making it look brighter than it should do. I still think that's what it is, because as I said in my summary, and if you couldn't make that out from the live stream, my summary was that it was a little puff of cloud, but at high level, lower than the other two sets of clouds that were moving, making it look like it was moving faster than maybe it was. The reason why I think it was a cloud is because when you zoom in at points, you can see it sort of slightly change shape. What is interesting about Daniel's footage of Jupiter is that you can see when the camera zooms in and out, you do get like little things of movement. So it could be that. So look, none of us know exactly what it was, but it's really good investigative work, really great open-minded skepticism from everybody to really kind of go through that analysis. And I think we came up with some really good suggestions of what it possibly could be and explanations. So thank you to everybody that joined the live stream. Thank you to everybody that's supporting the channel and G-Star Vault. And I will see you next time for another G-Star Vault. And don't forget, on our Facebook page, on the Monty Zone page. Please share any kind of videos, footage that you're seeing that you would love me to talk about here on the channel or on the Monty Zone. That would be awesome. Check you guys out next time. See you later.